Hello everyone, I'm Ulysses Wolf. Today there is a special video about the tutorial on how to configure SimCity 4 in modern machine. Today we have a special guest which is Lucario Bourica.
Well, hello everyone. Lucario Bourica here, and I'm doing well, and hope everyone's doing well as well.
Okay, so today is a special tutorial because it's a actually requested tutorial about SimCity 4, which is the first aspect is how to configure SimCity 4 in modern machine. There is a various aspect because this old game, so we need to perform a lot of setup. But today we just finally release a official guide in universal mode. So, what is the universal mode? The universal mode is this configuration of setup is compatible with the GOG version of SimCity 4 and the Steam version of SimCity 4. There is some aspect we need to talk about this grid. Rightly, Lucario?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, the fifth aspect is the future of SimCity 4 modding, which you can know, Lucario. There is a new modding of the game, which is the final DDL injection mod. So this is the page in which I put in description of the video. This information for new player about the new way of DL mod and the consequence of the for the community. Because you use the Windows version, right, Lucario?
Yes, that's the one I use.
There is people which use the Linux version and the macOS version, but this configuration, which let's say the universal mod for SimCity 4, is only compatible with Windows and Linux version of the game. So for macOS and other version of the game, which let's say the all other version of SimCity 4, the macOS spot on Steam or Apple Store, and the pirated copies of the game is obviously not supported from community and obviously from Synthropolis people and the SC4 even more people. So you demand why, Lucario? Why this problem? Oh no.
Okay. So what happens? It's that the dynamic link library (DLL) is a file format you can actually use on Windows operating systems to edit like a software engine, so you can actually modify behavior that used to be hard coded. So it actually enables us to do a lot of other features. The problem is Mac OS does not support DLL files, so that's what prevents the compatibility. And we also have to consider that starting with Windows 10, Microsoft no longer supports the old product key system of the CD versions of a lot of software, including SimCity 4's 1.1.640 version.
Yes, this is very important because you need the 1.9641 version of SimCity 4 because it's the only version which corresponds to digital version of SimCity 4 about to work with the new DL mods. There is a lot of DL mods. In fact, I made the SimCity 4 Ultimate Guide, which is a very important guide for new player, which there is a lot of index about the mod. So we have the performance and graphical list, the gameplay enhancement list, which is the very important because we now finally have a more booting style or the network add mod list, which is the all mod compatible with the network add mod and so on. So there is the dependency, the tree, the rock list, the especially vanilla and spam list, which is all booting compatible with vanilla or spam configuration, and obviously the Colossus add mod list. which let's see now the CAM list, which is the most yes, you can see when the CAM 2.5 version will come out, because there is 2.1.1 version of Colossus add-on mod, and there is the beta version of Colossus add-on mod 2.5, which I made, is in development stage. I don't know when I finish, but there is a lot of stuff, and there is, especially in utility part, there is a lot of contribution of Lucario Bourica.
Mm-hmm.
But today is just important the performance and the graphic list, which is contain all the mod is important to install for get a better performance of the game. So you can see we have the 4 GB patch, which is important to perform SimCity 4 to run 4 GB patch. Why, Lucario?
Okay, so SimCity 4 is a 32-bit application. So it was designed for computer operating systems and hardware that uses 32 bits, which at total can only address up to 4 gigabytes of RAM. But since you need to have the operating system along with the software, you cannot allow your software to use all 4 gigabytes of RAM. However, now that we have widespread use of 64 bits operating systems, these systems can use a lot more RAM. So it's actually possible to tell the software to use all of the RAM memory. And this actually allows the software to load more files, to swap the files more easily. And in the case of SimCity 4, it actually helps us use heavily modded options using large mods such as the Navigator mod to their full capacity.
Oh, yes. We have the SimCity 4 CPU option, which is very important because we remember SimCity 4 is a game which made with we have the CPU with one core. So obviously the game is have some bug in the code about the performance and the management of the game, the resource game in multi-core system. So this is very important. But if you remember, Lucario, when we set up the launcher configuration parameter in execute exe or the Steam version, you remember you generally use the famous CPU height or love, which I think, if you remember this setup, this special configuration.
Oh yes. So if you're gonna do it manually, which is what I did, you're gonna edit the properties of your SimCity 4 shortcut, and
Yes.
then under properties, you're gonna go to the target line.
Yes, we have the CPU count and the CPU priority. But when we started to dig about in the code in the of SimCity 4, we just found all the launcher parameter, the shot about the version of shotline, and obviously the old SimCity 4 launcher is completely broken. So you generally set up the CPU priority line, which is not working if you don't use ADL mod, because it's because the CPU priority is always low in the game.
Oh wow!
But in the with the new mod, we just enable auto setup for the CPU priority and so on. This is the same problem with the the resolution launcher, because you generally in the last part of the code you inset the screen resolution and then the 32 byte color, which is not working.
Wow!
So this
Yeah, it's not helpful.
there is a lot of aspect of the game. Then we have startup performance, which I remember in a heavy game, in a heavy setup with a lot of mod like me, Lucario, and so on. This DL mod is very important because they made the loading fast, not the
Mm-hmm.
real code network add mode, so the loading of the fixed city is quite slow because of all the code we inserted in network add mode. But the fixed loading, so the loading of the HAL file is very fast now, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you perform the data packing and if you have a SSD, a solid state drive. So there is a huge improvement. And then we have the texture, the transparent texture fix, the region turbinal fix, which is this is very important because in full height resolution, you remember obviously you have you don't see the blank line is formed in turbinal region, but actually this problem. You do know why why because this problem even in the full HD resolution.
Okay, so first of all, SimCity 4 was designed in a time in which computer resolutions were a lot smaller. And what happens is the game stops the rendering of the city thumbnails before it actually finishes the full rendering at much larger resolutions, starting at the 1920 by 1080p pixels. With those, you can see like a small sliver of the region background. But if you use much bigger resolutions to that, you actually end up missing like a quarter or a third of a chunk of the preview. It's not really usable for the original view.
Oh yes, and obviously because SimCity 4 using a DirectX 7 version, which is obviously not on my now compatible with the modern graphic processor unit and so on. So there is a lot of problem about the aspect, and in this case we needed to use a DirectX wrapper, the famous Dgvoodoo 2, which personally I made the configure the Dgvoodoo SimCity 4 edition. Obviously we needed to thank you the original developer of Dgvoodoo and obviously MGB, which developed the special file to increase the compatibility of the wrapper and SimCity 4. Obviously, in our link there is our description of this Y mod, but now we need to start the game, the configuration. So, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we have this folder which is SimCity 4 fix. We have hard fix we need to install. Reshade is just a fix for the people who need to increase the quality of the color of the game, the texture, so on. So, for the moment, we don't install now Reshade, but we need to install the other part of the game. Obviously, you need to go. Obviously, this is a special mod. So, do you remember I have two folder of plugins or not, Lucario?
Yes, we have the plugins stored at the documents folder, which is where you use the regular mods and the region files. But you also have the installation directory plugins, which is where you would want to put the region backgrounds, the sky backgrounds, but also uh, core files to improve the game's performance, including DLL files.
Oh yes, personally I recommend to install DL mods in a plugin of installer director because it's very important to load first the DL mod and then the other mod. But now we need to perform some special configuration about the plugins folder and the apps folder, because in apps folder we have the SimCity 4 XR, which is the
Mm-hmm.
executable. We have this file. So
Mm-hmm.
the first step is install the 4 GB patch, which is this exe. So we need to copy and cut there. And finally, we need to drag the SimCity 4 exe to 4 GB patch. We need to perform obviously give the administration permission, and now we have SimCity 4 patched for 4 GB patch. So now we have SimCity 4 using 4 GB of RAM. It's a very easy step. Oh no, Lucario.
Yeah, you're actually using a different method to what I use. So what I normally do is actually open the 4 gigabyte patch application and then navigate to the installation directory to select SimCity 4's application file and actually apply the patch manually.
Oh
So this is
yes.
actually a faster method.
Oh yes, there is a lot of method to patch SimCity 4 or other game which need 4 gigabyte patch. And now we can move with the second important thing to install, which is probably Dgvoodoo,
Mm-hmm.
which is obviously in the second list. So we have the installation grid. There is
Installation guide.
to install
Mm-hmm.
the file. Then we have obviously the Intel GPU fix, which is the only solution for Intel GPU is upgrade your driver. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
let's close this. We have AMD GPU fix, which is
Mm-hmm.
you need to upgrade the driver, and then you need to go in AMD control panel to select some configuration to increase the compatibility of GPU with SimCity 4, and finally we have NVIDIA, which is today we use, which is a very easy common fix, especially for laptop version, because the laptop we have two GPU, the Intel or AMD and the NVIDIA or AMD GPU. So Intel or AMD is integrated graphic unit, and NVIDIA or AMD is dedicated graphic unit. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to go in SimCity 4 folder, and we just have the file. What is video cards SGR or graphical rules SGL, Lucario?
Okay, let's see. Okay, I actually forgot what this was about.
Oh, you don't know. Okay. Uh, let's explain. I explain. In video cards
Mm.
SGR, we just have all index of GPU which the game use. So when you detect a determined GPU, the game is move in your GPU and start using the GPU. Graphic rules invece we have all setting of the graphics, including the resolution, if you put the shaders in height or low, resolution, quality, and
Mhm.
so on. So this two file is common because you get even in the Sims 2. And then
Oh, okay.
so this is a two powerful file, and then we have apps folder, which inside the app folders we have the 4 gigabyte patch, obviously because the wrapper need 4 gigabyte patch to run, and then are the configuration of Dgvoodoo. So this is very easy to install. So let's copy
Mm-hmm.
these three file,
Mm-hmm.
copy, and
Okay,
then
copy the files.
and then cut in your installer folder. So now you need to obviously you need to overwrite the original file, and we just installed the wrapper. It's very easy.
Okay, so just in case, so Luis is pasting the files in the SimCity 4 Deluxe root folder.
Yes.
Since he already had them installed at first, he's overwriting them. But
Oh yes.
if you're watching this tutorial, it's probably the case that you're actually doing it for the first time. So you're just pasting them
Oh
into the
yeah.
folder.
Yes. This the installation of the Dgvoodoo, cioè the wrapper, is very important to perform in this way because two files need overwrite, and then we have all the file which is included in apps folder, which is very important to run correctly the wrapper for SimCity 4.
Mm-hmm.
And we just finish, let's say, the other part of the installation, because now we just have the funny part, which is the installation of DL mod. So in this case, I use the order we have. So first, we need to copy obviously the two file, which is the autosave dynamic library link and autosave.ini file, which is this, which is a file configuration. So let's put there, and let's start to edit the autosave in configuration file, which is just configuration which we have the loading of the mod, the interval minute. Generally, I recommend 1 hour for interval to start the autosave. The fast save feature, no regional to bait. In this case, I put false, but true is okay. True is just not perform the region terminal update. We have in your time paused. In this case, I recommend false. And we just finish this configuration. So configure.
Okay,
Configure
okay,
adding.
before
Oh yeah.
okay, before you move from here, so we gotta clarify a few of the aspects. So that last parameter, ignore time paused, that's actually important depending on whether you play the game with the simulation running or whether you play the game pause and finish whatever thing you wanted to do and then you start the simulation, which is how I play. If you do it this second way, you actually need to put this in false, otherwise the autosave won't register the autosaving if your game has paused all the time you're playing.
Oh yes, in fact there is a special information about the ignore time paused. So every configuration like ignore time paused, fast save have a special information. So you when edit this parameter, you have information which what the parameter is doing during the game. So it's very important to read and decide what you need, what type of true or false parameter you need to put. But obviously this is my configuration, so generally I recommend to in your time passed to put in fast mode, because let's say a lot player perhaps play a lot in pause mode, then you need to restart the simulation to perform the autosave. So in this case we need to we need to ignore time paused. Even for intervention minute, I put 1 hour of intervention minute because so we have just 1 hour of content save. So when you, but probably you put in half time, so on. So there is a lot of configuration you do. This is just example, or not, Lucario?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's very clear to me.
Okay, we need to save the configuration file, and now we need to install the CPU option. So this is very important. Okay, we need to copy again to file the CPU option mod, the dynamic library link, and the configuration file. So copy, and let's put again in plugins folder inside of the installation folder. It's very easy. And now we need to configure CPU option. So we just have obviously the CPU option put in automatic the CPU count in 1, so you don't need again to perform this launcher configuration parameter. Just remove or don't put, because it's just just put in the mod, and we need only to configure the priority. So instead of normal, generally I recommend height, especially for the last generation of CPU, especially Intel CPU, because we have A-core, P-core, and so on. So there is a lot of problem in Windows Scheduler and SimCity 4, because SimCity 4 is born in era when we just have one core for CPU. Oh no, Lucario?
Oh yes. So the SimCity 4 is a computationally intensive game, but it's programmed to only use a single core, so it actually maxes out the use of the core it has available. So you just set the priority to high, you ensure that SimCity 4 always has a core available to
Mm.
perform its functions.
Yes, this is very important for the last generation of CPU, especially for Intel CPU. We need only to save the file, and we just finish the CPU configuration of the game. So let's move with the another the DPF loading. So this is only we need to copy this the dynamic library link file, because we just remember is increasingly fast the first loading of the game, and not the second loading of the game, which is generally the first loading of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And this is easy installation, so we just move with the disable FPS limit, which is just this simple file, which is let's say is gain a slightly performance boost, especially in a big city, because we just don't because SimCity 4 is running at maximum of 120 FPS. So it's very important for the big city, a lot of skyscraper, a lot of automata. If you remember, when you build a big city, you generally have a worsening of performance or no, Lucario?
Oh yes, and you also notice it in some rural cities, especially if you use a lot of trees. Like the game actually needs to render all of those objects, and if you're moving the city view, if it has a lower FPS limit, then it's gonna look skipping or laggy, and actually this helps reduce that.
So this is mod is very important, but is let's say is in early access release for the mod, because if there is problem we need to alert Kasper Vujevic, is the creator of the mod, to perform an update of this DL mod. So you for the moment you can get in GitHub for the downloading of the file, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very useful for the big city. And then we just have the king of dynamic library mod, the SimCity 4 fix. So why is the king of the dynamic library mod, Lucario?
Oh, SimCity 4 fix. So this was really important because it actually fixes a few critical bugs of the SimCity 4 game. Perhaps the best known of these bugs is the so-called transit lock crashing. So what it happens is that if you have a transit log, like say like a train station, but you're starting to build a network around it, like adding like a railway junction piece, and if you hover the network piece over the transit station, this actually made the game crash the desktop. It
Yes.
actually does. It does perform a few other fixes. I forget what they are, but this is a really huge deal because it actually helps us run the game smoother and avoid mistakes that should have even been in place in the first place.
Oh yes, this is a very important mod to have, which is if I remember correctly, it's the second dynamic library mod is developed in SimCity 4 community, because the first is the extra cheat the dynamic library mod made by Budgie, but I don't remember it's the second or the third, because the creator of this mod, which is if I remember is Simmaster 07, is
Oh
made
yes,
he made a second extra cheat dynamic library mod. So I don't remember if the second is SimCity 4 fix or the extra version of the extra cheat. But it's not important.
yeah. I suspect it's actually the SimCity 4 fix,
Mm.
and I'm actually reading the information of the mod. and it actually does two really important things. The second one would be fixing the prop box. That's
Oh,
when
I
the
remember this
yeah,
this bug is a very killer bug for the
yeah.
cities.
So the prop box is that you actually see the city and you find missing prop objects. Like you might see a lot. It's supposed to have cars and trees, and then you don't see the cars or the trees. And what happens is like these props, well, they do exist. Their coordinates are moved to the origin to 000, so they're not visible in their actual location in the map. And the other one, which is probably the most important, is allowing other DLL mods to load into SimCity 4's memory without the GC framework. So it actually makes it easier to incorporate the DLL files. Like you actually need this to make
Oh,
sure the other DLL files work.
yes, this is very important. But let's say a lot of mod you will now have this dynamic library. So since it's dynamic library, you can already injected this file, the other mod inside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have another important mod, dynamic library mod, which is the graphic option. Yeah.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Okay, we have already again to file, just like the autosave, the CPU option. So we need to copy the dynamic library mod and the configuration file. So copy and paste in the plugin folder. So now we need to configure the graphic option. So you have a lot of information, so we need to increase the resolution of the text reader. So we just have the setting. So we now have the neighbor intro video, which generate a use to parse game on focus loss, which is parse when it losses focus, default to false, so on. But the important thing is the driver which SimCity 4 use for rendering. So we have the DirectX, the OpenGL, the SGL, which is the SimMaster 07 replacement for OpenGL render, and the soft render. Probably you demand why we have four rendering tool in SimCity 4. Do you know, Lucario?
Yes. So SimCity 4, being a commercial application, it was designed to work with commercial graphics cards, and those are the ones that are controlled by DirectX. Like that's the driver you use on Windows computers. You actually cannot run this directly on Linux operating systems. So you actually need other options to make it work. And that's where we have the OpenGL, which was not quite as developed back in the early 2000s, which is why we have SimMaster's replacement, which actually modernizes it to work on newer computers and operating systems. And the software render, you can use it if you do not have a proper dedicated graphics card, or if your computer's integrated graphics are really primitive. The problem with the software render option is that you would not be able to use high definition mods, in which case your game can freeze or crash.
Oh yes, let's say a lot of people which have a Dutch copy of 3ds Max, which is the tool which perform the creation of building in SimCity 4, or in Gmax, which have the file to perform the full HD resolution exporting of the file. So this is very important, because if you use the software, you don't use the high definition mode. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
use or DirectX or SGL, because OpenGL is broken, and if you have the Mac OS version of SimCity 4, you can see this problem about the OpenGL broken which is literally unfinished state. So in driver we need general is in default, we need to put DirectX. which is
Mhm.
very important, especially for the people which use a DirectX wrapper, and then obviously you need to play a 2K resolution for or large resolution, which I think is 8 Cape resolution. So we have a lot of resolution now. So we need to configure the window width and the height. So in this case, I use a monitor which is full HD, so 1920 20 and 1080. So this is very important to perform the correct resolution of your screen. And then we have the color dip, which is already set up with the max color depth we have in SimCity 4. And
Mhm.
we need to finish with window mode, which is we have window head, so you can see the window screen taskbar there. The borderless full resolution, and then we have the full screen. So in this case, I put the full screen. You what in what Windows mode do you use SimCity 4, Lucario?
Oh, I always use full screen, and that's because I want to get like a full view of the game without any distortions. Like you might have in windowed mode, you can actually have the image vertically squished because of the taskbar,
Oh yes, yes.
and of course, and of course, there's also other graphic
Mm.
options you can get. Like there's mods to remove the yellow frame of the pause view if you don't like that. And
Oh yeah.
you also have a mod that actually hides the minimized control tray in the corner that actually makes it invisible, which allows you to get completely clean screenshots.
Oh yes, obviously this mod is indicated or is needed to put in dedicated page about the gameplay enhancement or similar, because there is a lot of index we needed to made. There is if I remember correctly, we just have the Mario mod poppable in list, which is obviously the mod you put to perform a better enhancement of the aesthetic of the landscape and or the background list, which is the all index of background mod. In this case, is this file. This file is the background, or not, Lucario?
Oh, oh yeah, this is really nice because SimCity 4 by default has like this gray square grid. It looks really artificial, but you can actually replace it with an actual sky. You can actually see clouds or see the stars at night. Or you can also replace it with a background that resembles the terrain, so you can actually see like if you're just looking from the air, you just see terrain extending all directions. So it actually helps you make your cities look more realistic rather than reminding you that you're in the game. You just have like this giant square floating in the virtual space of
Oh
nothingness.
yes, yes. This is very important to get. I use the full night sky with the stars and so on. So which is very important to have some personalization of the background. When you finish the setup the configuration of the graphic option, you just need to save the file. So we move with the installation of the last two fix, which is obviously the terminal fix,
Oh,
which made a lot of trouble during the development stage, because they perform a critical crash during the loading of the city. So we just made a lot of there was a lot of trouble, but we can finally have this mod. It's made by
okay.
Memo,
So,
which
oh yeah, thank you, Mamo, for doing this.
yes.
He's one of the one of the code champions of the Network Atom mod team,
Yes, and
and
obviously we just have the transparent text to fix, a not important mod, and we
oh, so so to explain the transparent texture bug fix, if you have some lot that's programmed incorrectly, you might see that it might have the overlay texture but lack a base texture, and you're gonna see like a square hole into the city's background. So this actually makes sure that instead of that, you're gonna see the base terrain or actually load all the textures correctly. To actually make sure your city looks correct when rendered.
Oh, yes. And this is very important because they made a lot of trouble for the modding people, especially for the lotter, because we needed to use the best texture to hide this problem. Now is finally we can not need to use a base text in lotting. Yeah, so we can finally
Mm-hmm.
have a better tunnel portal, for example.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
But this is the we just finished the installation of this critical mode because now we need to perform the last setup of SimCity 4, which is
Oh, what's
obviously
this?
the configuration of NVIDIA control panel in this case because I use NVIDIA, I have an NVIDIA GPU, and obviously the Dgvoodoo control panel. So first we need
Oh, there we go. This is important.
so, Dgvoodoo is already configured for SimCity 4, which if you do download the Dgvoodoo SimCity 4 version, so you don't need a lot of trouble with what parameter I need to put. It's already configured, but we need to perform this configuration because we need to select the GPU we need to use. But so we just have the Dgvoodoo control panel, which is this, but first we need to run the NVIDIA control panel. Okay, so I use the Italian language because I forgot to switch the English version of the operating system. So obviously NVIDIA control panel is in Italian. So you need to manage 3D setting. So you need to go program setting in this case.
Mm-hmm.
This setup, this configuration is very important for the people which use the laptop. Okay, so I already made the configuration of because I have SimCity 3000 in unlimited, so I needed to again set up Dgvoodoo configuration, so on. So in this case, I needed to go in. I needed to select if you didn't, if you can, you needed to add. So we just have a lot of program you can add in control panel. So we need to go in common if you have the Steam. So SimCity 4 Deluxe apps and need to select the Dgvoodoo control panel. In fact, you need you generally have integrated graphic, so you need to put NVIDIA height performance, which is this, and then you need to apply. Yes, the program need some time because we need to apply this setting. We need to perform this configuration again for SimCity 4. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
go again in apps folder, select SimCity 4 XE, and it's already selected NVIDIA High Performance. So if you have a graphic integrated, you need to select NVIDIA High Performance apply, and we just have this configuration. So we just set up SimCity 4 to run with obviously with Dgvoodoo and the NVIDIA GPU.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably need to perform the same configuration for AMD, but AMD you need to perform extra configuration, which is indicated in AMD fix guide, and obviously I put in description a Reddit link which is explain why we need to perform this configuration for AMD CPU, GPU. So now we need to run Dgvoodoo control panel with administration permission, with the admin permission. And we just have this screen, which we have the general, grid, and DirectX. So this we have already configured. Probably you need to unselect false VSync, but depend on your computer. Okay, this is already configured. So we need only to configure the output API, which is obviously which DirectX, the final DirectX version we need to target SimCity 4. So in this case, we have select DirectX 11, but some people have some problem with DirectX 11, so it's switch with DirectX 12. So it's very depend on your machine. But we need to select the adapter, which is obviously the GPU. So in this case, I need to select my NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, so this is very important. Well, obviously, my NVIDIA GeForce GTX, but you can select Intel GPU, which is integrated graphic processor unit. So in this case, I need to select my NVIDIA. So apply, okay, and we just finish this configuration. So it's very easy. Oh no, Lucario.
Oh yes, like it's a lot. It looks like a lot, but it's actually repeating a lot of fairly simple stuffs. And don't forget, like you only have to do this once per SimCity 4 installation. So once you do this, it should guarantee that your game should continue performing well for as long as you play it.
Oh yes, otherwise we need to remember this, the performance boost you can get is dependent on your machine. So if you have old hardware, you can or you obviously get reduced performance compared with the modern hardware. So we need to remember this aspect of configuration. Okay, so we just finished, so we just close, and we made a starter of SimCity 4, because it's obviously we needed to start the game to see if all configuration is performed correctly, because if not correct, we just have some crash or we have a problem. So we need to see, obviously. Let's say the first loading in absolute is generally slightly slow, but challenge everything. But you can see it's now fast, and there is some glitch because it's the translator in DirectX 7 to 11 on 12. So there is obviously when you translate in DirectX 11, there is the NVIDIA app which is started to hook the game. But you can see we just finally loading the screen intro.
Oh, that was fast. Is this your SimCity 4 installation with your full gameplay mods?
Oh no. Okay, this is easy. This is a vanilla SimCity 4. We don't have a network mode, no open mode,
okay.
Because
okay, no, you got.
Because we have another tutorial to make before to install a mod, because we need to explain how to install network mod and how to manage the plugin folder. Oh no, Lucario.
Oh right, like you gotta have your gameplay goodies ready before you actually play.
Oh yes, this is the Timbuktu region. So I landing city to see if
the large city.
See the large city, because just we needed to see if rendering correctly all of the game, because now we have the optional part of the configuration tool. You can see in your tutorial, you can see we just have this nice city. You can see, wow, it's very nice. Oh no, it's very smooth, fast. Oh no, Lucario.
Yeah, I can definitely notice the difference. Also, keep in mind that we are recording this tutorial at the same time that we are showing the game.
Okay, just a reminder for some people. We have the graphic option of the game. So in this case, I set up in maximum graphic option. So on the shadows, but you need to deselect the variable automata speed, which in this case, if you can go in very fast time, the automata is generally is perform your speed in normal speed, so you can get a slightly, but very slightly boost of performance of the game. Obviously I need to reduce the effect and the music volume. While in option audio, we need to obviously we have the personalized sound. You need to select this to get obviously the all your personalized song to put in the game. Oh no, Lucario?
Yeah, that's actually one of the options. You can copy a list of MP3 files and have them load in the game. Of course, the other option is using an external software that runs music. Maybe it's a music streaming service, or you have a local music player, or whatever. Like this one is actually in case you want to use a selection of music specific
No.
to
Yes.
SimCity 4. You want to let it play at random.
Oh yes, in fact I use the SimCity 2, 3, 20, the famous, the broken SimCity, the multiplayer SimCity, which is a great soundtrack, especially the City of Tomorrow DLC, but I use the obviously the SimCity 3000 Unlimited, and we need to thank Alex Lafayette soundtrack, which made this some special song, which I remember to download this song, which is very fantastic, and let's say it's a genre of album, because album is a genre of determinate aspect of United States. The last album remember a lot of Arizona, Nevada place. So this is so I recommend that
Mm-hmm.
you buy this album. Now we just finish the tutorial, which is the basic part, but we need to return in SimCity for fix folder because we need to install Reshade. So you
Okay, this is bonus contents. So this actually helps you readjust the color rendering parameters. It actually can change the appearance of your game.
Yes, generally a lot of people use Photoshop similar to edit the screenshot and perform a color balance, so increase the vibrance and so on. But Reshade is just inject all the correction of color in the game, so you can play with enhanced graphic. Let's say so. You need to select SimCity
Mm-hmm.
4. We need to select Microsoft
Mm-hmm.
DirectX 10, 11, 12 because we just configured Dgvoodoo. So now you can select this largely effect. So it's pre-selected with FX, but I recommend FX shadows. Okay, and if I remember, we just have because we have a lot of shadows, but generally I remember with FX and FX shadows. So you need to select next. Now now Reshade install is installed the file, and can you see in apps folder we just have new file, which is Reshade preset, Reshade configuration file. So if you have a problem with the key of to start the control panel of Reshade in game, I select in this case We just have K overlay, which is 190, which is corresponded to
Mm-hmm.
dot kbod. We need to save,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to restart the game, because now we can finally see if Dgvoodoo is correctly installed and Reshade is correctly installed. So start again SimCity 4. Yes, this is some slowness time to loading, but okay, we can see finally Reshade is loading, because in a wise start of the game you can see this bar. In fact, you can see Maxis screen, and then we just have the intro. Okay. Now we need to configure Reshade. So I use this setting. So this is I need to skip tutorial because we need to go generate there. So you can have all shards FX we installed. So the fix is to select FXA, which increase some aspect of the graphic. Same for SMA, and we just put the HDR, so you can see the difference of the color. Oh no, Lucario?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
So if you play with
Yeah, like you can actually, you can actually test the different reshade options live in the game. So you might actually want to take some really special plays, like some of your favorite cities or landscapes, and actually adjust it just to get the perfect view within the game, and then you can be sure this works just right.
Oh yes, and lastly I recommend Vibrance, which you can, let's say, put more Vibrance color or more less Vibrance color. You can have obviously
Oh, so
the reset button, but generally I put some more vibrance for my gameplay because I like more vibrance color. And then press the dot button, and let's start with another set, which in this case is a tutorial for Rush Hour, so X, and you can see of with the use of Reshade the game is have another look, a modern look graphic. Oh no, Lucario.
hmm yeah. So one thing you're gonna notice it's that SimCity 4's default graphic look a bit dull in color. It's
Oh
like a
yes.
low color saturation. You can actually notice it very easily when you see the contrast between the zones and the base terrain.
Yes, you can see you just have a different gamma color with Reshade. So let's close the vibrance HDR so you can see the difference of the color with the normal color set of SimCity 4 and with Reshade, using obviously the HDR and vibrance. So wow. Oh no, Lucario.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Uh, of course, this is also a matter of preference.
Oh yes,
Like
this.
Lisa and I actually like our cities to look colorful, but I do know players who actually think the game's default appearance is too colorful. They actually wanted to do even duller or grayer.
Oh yes,
If you're
yes.
actually if you're writing city journals or mayor diaries, you can actually use these options to help you develop an ambience that matches the vibe you want to go with.
Oh yes, the last configure setting we can recommend, but is you need to be careful. Is the blur, if you remember, Neon Bloom. Okay, so generally in Night Shop, especially for when you use dark mode, you can have a lot of dark with the neon bloom. You can have increase of the light of the building, the lamp street, and so on. So you can see the difference now, Lucario.
Oh wow, this looks really cool.
So generally I recommend the dark mode before to use the neon bloom, and you can see we just have the FPS panel, which you can see the game is running fast as possible. So in this case we just have an average of 33, 34, 32 FPS. So it's very fast, but it is very important for the big city. Okay, now deselect the neon bloom. You can have a lot of preset. Okay, and we need to select AMD Fidelity FX contrast, which just made some color more beautiful. But you have a lot of shadows to use. There is the carton. You can see of now it's very weird because it's carton FX. Okay, I need to close. Reopen. Oh. We have even the split screen, but I don't know how to use. Let's check.
Oh, let's see.
We have the vignette. Okay, is sometimes some shadow need to loading is slow the game, but okay, but I don't see some difference. Okay, let's close and let's put in day mode. If say bah, okay, I don't know the difference. Okay, there is some dark on the border of the screen. Okay.
Mhm.
Probably this is the most weird. This is all Ash code. The screen is made only in Ash, so every building road automatic is converted in Ash code. It's very,
Oh,
this is very Matrix style. Okay. Okay, we just finished the Reshade. So we can finally close the game because we need only to finish the last aspect of Reshade configuration. Because obviously you can have the overlapping of the key setting about key screenshot of Reshade and the natural key screenshot of Windows. In this case, I recommend to put in 186, which I don't remember, but it's a key not used in SimCity 4. Okay, save the game, save the file, and we just finished the configuration of SimCity 4. So, tada! So it's not very difficult, it's very easy, and you can see there is some aspect we need to be careful about, especially for Dgvoodoo, the wrapper. There is alternative of Dgvoodoo wrapper, but obviously Dgvoodoo is easy, is fast to configure it compared to the other wrapper we have. Okay, Lucario, some question? Or you need to explain the last minute thing?
Oh, okay. So, just in case, I just wanted to remind you guys that this Dgvoodoo thing is entirely optional. It doesn't do much to enhance your actual gameplay performance. But if you actually want to make your cities look cooler, whether you're doing city journals or you're doing video tutorials or streaming, this can help you get the look you want. And with the in-game music, this is actually useful because it's actually easier to configure your screen recording software to capture the sound of the game, and you can actually make sure you have a music library that is appropriate for the game, especially considering copyright restrictions with publishing online.
Oh yes, this is very
We want
important
to make
because if
we want to make sure that
oh,
we want we want to make sure the players get to enjoy the game, but don't get in trouble for it.
oh yes, this is very important because during my streaming, especially for SimCity 4, I use non-copyrighted music. So I have this setting and so on. So some people maybe don't like the Alex La Follette music, but it's free copyright, so I can use this song. This is probably not a song, but I need to listen carefully, experimenting, and so on. So you probably avoid the soundtrack of SimMax, which is a mod of SimCity 4, which is copyrighted music. I made experimental private video, and which is contain a lot of copyrighted music. So we need to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Other than we just finished the tutorial. The next tutorial I hope to make is the network card mod installation, which is very important to install, upgrade network card mod, which we need to remember. Network card mod 49 version is the last version of Agile Vera, which is let's say is universal installation, because we need to remember we have a network add-on mod dynamic library mod, so we need some time to find a better solution with the integration of the mod, and we made with the obviously the DL mod and the network mod that use a player, because obviously if we made a lot of change in RAR code, the Mac version, we cannot use the last version of network mod. Probably there is obviously me and Lucario, there is some aspect we cannot explain in public now, because it's just say we have an NDA, no discretion agreement, because it's a secret, but generally gave some cloud in community, which Lucario made a post in Simtropolis, if I remember correctly, which is some new feature.
Yes. Okay, so with the DLL mods, we are adding so many new features to transportation gameplay in SimCity 4, and we want to make sure that the community is actually ready for when we actually deploy these for all players to enjoy. It's such a big deal. It would help us enter into the DLL modding era of the network add-on mod.
Yes,
So please stay tuned for more updates.
obviously you just see the impact of DL mod, which in introducing network mod 48 version, because I show you park and ride ordinance DL mod, if you remember, Lucario, because this is a very important feature for
Oh, definitely, yeah.
but obviously we don't release this mod. It's very experimental. There is some problem which we need to explain. But a lot of components we have a huge impact of their mod. So the park and ride traffic simulator. There is the diagonal bridge enabler, which finally we have in-game enabler setting for this mod. So we needed to perform a particular installation procedure, but this is not for now. We have a special tutorial for this content with the DL mod and so on. And then obviously we need to perform a better management of plugin folder. So we have SC4 pack, which is an automatic, let's say it's similar to Steam Workshop or Paradox mod for Cities Skyline 2 players, but first we need to perform a manual management of plugin font, and then we need to move obviously in SimCity 4 pack management, but it's for later, because it's again because it's in early stage of development, something is change. So I prefer to not perform this tutorial about with experimental stuff. So let's avoid. Let's put with the classic
Mhm.
management file, and then we start the SimCity 4 tutorial with other people, not only with Lucario. Perhaps we need to, I don't know, Lucario, but I see on Simtropolis forum or in Discord, we need some tutorial about the dams and
Oh yeah, like
and some.
oh that's actually thank you for bringing it up. Like it's been a while since I've actually worked on my earthwork tutorials, which is about shaping the game of the terrain to help you build a lot of really cool stuff. And one of the highest demand requests is actually building dams and reservoirs. So I'm definitely going to work on that very soon, and perhaps we're going to have a video for it.
Oh yes, I hope because it's probably I don't record the video about the dams, but I hope we can bring a video tutorial about the dams, landscaping, and other stuff because landscaping and relative stuff is very vary in SimCity 4. Thanks for large of mod support, but even with not mod support, we have a precious tool made by Maxis developers. Sometimes
Hmm.
I see the landscaping tool of SimCity 4 is more advanced compared to the City Skyline tool and other. But
Oh wow!
sometime because it's dependent of landscaping you made. Uh, But this is plans for future. We don't know the next tutorial will come out. This is a very important tutorial, so we just made, let's say, a sacrifice to bring fast as possible this tutorial because it's actually requested from community. I remember when this video is coming out, there is Saturday, which is 5 October. We just start my streaming of SimCity 4. Probably Luca, you needed to see
Oh yes.
my streaming because in this case, obviously I don't use the additional building style because let's say a battleground community style, new feature, so it's very fast upgrade this mod. So for the moment, even I installed this mod, I don't use. But we have the sub menu dynamic library mode, so you can finally see
Oh.
the huge impact of sub menu, uh, which they made the pack menu very small now. Slowly, the pack menu
Oh.
is
Yeah, we also
we have
like we're actually looking into doing the same thing for the transportation menus. We have a lot of stuff in
oh
the network out of mod and the transit stations. So that's also going to help players use the content their full potential.
Oh yes, so you can see finally this huge potential of sub-menu DL mod, which is we need a lot of effort because we need to upgrade the mod, put the sub-menu that file for specific mod. We need to use the table to put this sub-menu in right sub-menu primary of the mod, the basic mod, so on. So they did a lot of stuff, but slowly we can make a lot of stuff in a specific sub menu. You you can see already the pack menu is very small now compared to in the last time of my streaming. Probably in my last streaming we probably perform some aspect which generally I put in my speed building video, so the construction of farming city, but I don't know because it's a new start and then we need a new change of visual. So I probably don't know which if bring industrial, commercial, or farming city for the streaming. In the next time you can see the remainder of the streaming so on obviously Discord and YouTube. If you don't subscribe, you can have the notification of when I start the streaming. So subscribe my channel and obviously in channel of Lucario Bourica.
Okay, thank you. And we hope to see you soon. We're going to have so many exciting things
Oh
for
yes.
SimCity 4. To think this game is 21 years old, it keeps on delivering.
Just remember, when we have free time, we can make this tutorial because it's a voluntary project. We need to remember this because some people think we just have a lot of free time it's a full-time job in SimCity, but it's we dedicate your free time, which is a hobby, obviously. So we need to remember this aspect. So the streaming, the streaming. Vabbè, the tutorial is finished. Thank you for watching me and Lucario for this tutorial. I hope you subscribe in my channel and Lucario channel YouTube, and you can follow us in Simtropolis, and you can obviously we have we stay on in Discord, SimCity, even more Discord server and Simtropolis Discord server. But see you next time. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you for watching.